Hello. Welcome back. We got the first floor done today, but we have a little bit of an issue. We're trying to find a way to get the trains to fit, and this cliff is kind of blocking our way, so yeah. I was going to close this side off, but I'm actually going to leave it open because I'll work with it later. So here's what I am going to do, though. I'm going to continue my work on the other cells, and I hope that during the construction of said other cells, or other rooms, or other floors, that I can think about an idea of how to fix my issue regarding the, what do you call it? The train delivery. Because I'm going to have trains deliver the stuff to this thing. I need about, for every vertical layer, I need about 2 train stations, totaling about 6. 2 cross 3 equals 6. But these train stations would require constant supply. Bruh, I remember when that one weird ass show Landman came out, and everybody was like pointing to the wind turbine scene of why wind turbines are bad. Like, yeah, you know it's gonna prove all those wind turbine loving libs wrong. Pointing by using a clip from a fictional show, not a documentary. No, not a documentary. Not a an educational film. A goddamn fictional TV show. Like, that's like saying, wow, guys, aliens are real. Look at Star Wars. They're obviously real because, there's aliens in Star Wars. Well, it's like, no, Star Wars is a fictional TV show that is beyond the realm of reality. Anyway, let's see. So the wind turbines, I always like to say, the Vestas V, I always guessed, like, in my man they were pointing at Vestas V90s, but it looks like, it could be a grid streamer, but what looks like more are Vestas V100s. Which, the guy's like, oh, look at these Vestas V100s. I can kind of tell, like, looking at the nacelle. Let's see, so the nacelle has the radiator where instead of a 45-degree triangle with the radiator plate, it's more like this. 2 angled lines that end at a flat top. And that indicates an older model of the modern end of the Vestas line. Something more like a V100. This is apparently the wind turbines that appear in the show. This looks more like a Vestas V1. I can't. Hello, viewer. So this is obviously what the model looks like. You can even tell, I could tell because I have autism or whatever, that the model looks like it's an older Vestas, like a V100. Which, that's like the ass end of the modern Vestas platform. And he's like, oh, look at this! How much oil does it take to put in this one of these things? It's like, okay, tell me, how much oil does it take to be put into one? And, like, he says, do you want to know how much oil? Doesn't give an answer. And it's 20-year lifespan, which is and isn't correct, and I'll explain why. Because here's the thing. People always say wind turbines last 20 years. But I feel like that's wrong. Because there are a lot of wind turbines that last past 20 years. I mean, look at the Alta. Like, unlike him, I'll give you an example. Look at Alta. Alta is a wind farm that's been operating since the 1980s. Those are old, outdated, garbage wind turbines. They're trash. They're garbage. They don't generate jack shit. They're expensive to maintain. They're old, outdated, and they're still surviving. They generate probably no more than I'd say 3/4 of a megawatt. The ones we build now, we could at the bad end, we're going for 3 megawatts, and the good end we're going up to 6 megawatts onshore. Offshore, we can get 10 megawatts. It's insane. But bro is literally criticizing wind turbines using an outdated model that Vestas. I'm pretty sure they don't make them anymore. V100s? I'm pretty sure they scrapped it. No, not being made. And the show came out, what, 3 years ago? And let's see, they stopped making them. When? Still deployed. Was widely deployed. As recently as 2020, 2021. I can imagine that the orders are coming in from models units that's already been built. They stopped making the V100 in 2017, 2018. They stopped making it. Bro's criticizing a wind turbine that's not even manufactured anymore. Why do we not make them? Or why does Vestas not make them? Because there's better models. The for example, the V126 or the V136, which I have climbed the V136. And I've actually seen the kilowatt rating on the generator. Even though it says 3.45, it's actually realistically 3.8, which is its top power. Or even better units, like I've showed on my channel, like the V100, V162 Inventus, and even the better V163. I'll give you an answer. Wind turbines usually need about 100 gallons of lubrication, and they need to change it every 18 months. And I used to when I used to comment on this, I didn't actually get to even see what happens. Here's the thing, right? When they change the oil, it is actually stored in a container. How do I know this? Because I've literally been inside 2 wind turbine farm operation centers. I've been inside 2 of them from 2 different companies, and they both store their lubrication in vats to be recycled. So essentially, yes, they do need lubrication, but they take very careful measures to make sure it doesn't leak. And they do pretty good at it. However, there are some bad apples, like the V82, that have a leaky problem. I don't know what it is with the Vestas V82s, but they leak like crazy. But the V82s are old and no longer manufactured. Like anything smaller than 100, I think even anything smaller than 120 meters rotor diameter is no longer made by Vestas. They have ceased production because it's not cost effective and not economically friendly to manufacture these low output wind turbines for utility scale anymore. And I agree with it. Out with the old, in with the new. There's no, again, I would say entering the year of 2018, there is no reason to manufacture a wind turbine that is under 2 megawatts for utility scale. Like, if it was for home, it's one thing, but for, like, utility scale, it's not economically viable anymore. Because we've just simply moved on to better and brighter units. Don't get me started about solar panels and lithium in your Tesla batteries, what he says. Now, I will say this right here, right? Now, I get wind turbines, whatever, but like EVs are a little bit of a hot topic because I have seen videos of lithium mines and let's just say they are not friendly for the environment. They are extremely detrimental. And I could make the same argument for the mining process to mine metal, make wind turbines. And that's unfortunate. But here's the problem about, like, electric, right? Electric-based industrial machinery, I mean, you could call me wrong when I say this, but it's to a certain degree in its infancy. We have electric vehicles for construction applications, but diesel-operated vehicles are much more superior and better fitted at the task than their electric counterparts, unfortunately. I believe one day maybe we could get there, right? I mean, we used to have two men hold up a chainsaw to operate it. Now, a single man, or anybody, can take a chainsaw and operate it. That was a task that probably a good amount of people didn't think we'd ever be able to do. To single-handedly wield a chainsaw. But yet, here we are. We can do it. And we have readily available technology. We never thought we could fly, but yes, we made planes. We can fly. We never thought we could go to space, but we did, and we've done it. We've gone to the moon and back. Progress will be made, although, unfortunately, this progress is slow. But bruh, it's funny how these guys try to quote-unquote, like, own the libs by, like, showing this clip of a guy ranting about wind turbines. In a fictional show, by the way. Again, if it was a documentary, I'd be like, okay, I don't agree with you, but you got your source from a quote-unquote factual information. But this is a dramatized show. I've watched bits of it because, you know, my parents watch it, whatever. But it's dramatized. It's TV. That's what TV is. Dramatized. And I have a really good point. To anybody that criticizes the wind turbine, before you criticize it, what is the box at the top? Tell me these couple things. Number one, what is the box at the top? Number two, what is the average height of these units? And number three, what is the average output? Box at the top, nacelle. Average height, 80 meters, but we're starting to increase to 100 meters. And all the way up to 120. Average output is 2 megawatts. And it's starting to raise all the way up to, say about, I'd say 3 megawatts. I wouldn't be surprised if we reached the 3 megawatt average rating within about 3 years. Not 3 years, 10 years maybe. But I actually came up with a pretty good comparison. The guy comparing a Vestas V100 and saying, look at all the wind turbines are bad, that's like saying, and if you're a car guy, you'll understand what I'm about to say, that's like me taking a Ford Edsel and saying, wow, all cars are garbage. We need to stop driving cars because the Ford Edsel is garbage. Also, we should stop driving cars because of the Trabant. You know, that garbage car that Germany made that only went like 40 miles an hour, had engine the size found in your push mower, and a fuel gauge that was a dipstick and no turn signals and shitty ass doors, and windshield wipers that sat in your way, like that piece of shit car, yeah, we should stop making cars because the Trabant exists. Do you hear how stupid that is? Like, that's, again, imagine if someone actually went to a car show and said, we need to stop driving cars because look at the Edsel. Like, dude, the Edsel is old as hell. And we shouldn't stop driving cars because one car was bad. Or a series of cars was ass. And not seen as being good. There are good wind turbine models, and there are bad ones. For example, a good one would be like a V150. It's a pretty nice, rugged model. A bad one, in my opinion, like the early bestest models of V15s that literally broke upon wind turbine blades breaking, or a much newer one, which is a Vestas V90 3 megawatt onshore, which had a failure rate of 15%. That's a bad model. But I'm pretty sure now you guys get the point. Again, I'm sorry. You're probably starting to see an issue here, is that my power line is starting to go away. The biggest issue I can see here is I don't want to put like power lines in the middle. Actually, I have a better idea. Watch this. I could just put them on the top. This is obvious, but as this place gets buried in more and more debris and shit like that. Yeah, that'll be good. But again, I'm sorry, but I have to mention this. It's so funny about the people, and you know what? You could call me triggered or whatever, but I'm not inclined to agree. The same people that criticize wind turbines for killing birds are probably the same people that drive lifted, squatted trucks. Come on, dude. You're gonna say how, no, they're killing the birds. Dude. You're driving a squatted truck that probably gets like 2 miles to the gallon. And you're probably not even using diesel. Like if you're using diesel, I can get you a good check because you're using less per gallon. Plus, I really like diesel a lot better because diesel is just such a nicer fuel. But yeah, like, what did you start caring about the environment? I can tell you that the guys who always criticize wind turbines for so much petroleum are the same guys that drive trucks that guzzle half their tank from just revving it off of the gas station. And listen, I'm not shaming people for driving these big-ass trucks. My dad has a truck that's lifted 3 foot. Yeah, trying to match 3 foot, bucko. On a 59 Impala. But, Yeah, you get my point. I think I should build all the refineries out first. But another thing I've seen is that I've seen is that people will say, "Oh my gosh, look at all the concrete they have to burn or make to make wind turbines," and that is a good point. I don't want to be this person that like I'm not gonna now, even though it sounds like I'm biased for turbines, I mildly am. I'm not going to tell you that they are not flawed. Every power system has an issue and a con. Coal is the good thing about coal is it's cheap-ish. I mean, at least compared to nuclear, but not against wind. Coal is readily available. Maybe 62 hours. Good shit. Good job. I mean, coal's readily available. It's relatively cheap, and it's easy to move around. But the con is that it's devastating to the environment to burn. And all that stuff. By the way, fun fact, dude. Yesterday was the 101st anniversary of the infamous tri-state tornado of the United States of America. If you guys don't know, the tri-state... Actually, guys, I have a little bit of good news for you. As of just 2 days ago, there is a new update. 1.2. Here's what it gets good. Number 1. Daisy lining. Machines will now be able to chain together. Number 2. Weather. Ah, Christ. My trains are like children. You can never ever leave them unattended or else they're gonna get themselves into trouble. Okay, we're at... Thank goodness it's next to my base. But here's where it gets better. 1.2 will introduce custom game modes like all pure resources or all impure resources. Yes, you will be now... I don't think so, but now you will be able... You will now be able to customize your nodes in Satisfactory. Like mostly pure, mostly impure. You get the point. And make them all pure. That right there, that sounds like fun. All pure nodes in Satisfactory. I guess that's going bye-bye. Huh, not a lot of plastic coming out of this factory. It's probably because that other train in front of it just got a majority of it. Right now, 1.2 is an experimental. For us poor PlayStation users, I don't think we got it. But if you're doing Steam, you should get the ability to do an experimental playthrough. You know what I'd also kill to see is Mark III pipes. I don't know. Honestly, in my opinion, I would start a brand new playthrough. Imagine this. Like, I'd say quote-unquote hardcore. Impure resources. And you start over here. By the way, before anybody judges me, yes, I will use rail signals, but I just don't know how to. I'm gonna continue this one. I might make this my main world. It depends. Also, vehicle paths are gonna be completely redone, and there's gonna be new fluid trucks. Hold on. Give me a second. You know, I have a picture that represents my reaction to what you just said about the foundations. My reaction to that. my reaction. Me hearing that you literally just foundation. Yeah. Ever heard of the town Pitcher? Yeah. Pitcher was an infamous town in Oklahoma. It sits roughly a couple miles, probably about 5, 10-ish miles, southwest of the town Joplin. and in its heyday, Pitcher produced an extraordinarily huge amount of lead. In fact, some legends say that Pitcher's lead, I'd say about what? I think up to like 50% of all the lead used in World War II came from Pitcher. But this land was stolen off of American native tribes. The land was extracted. Roughly 5,000 people lived in the town as it happened. But over the years, Pitcher started to become desolated as large piles of chat accumulated around the town. These chat piles contained waste products like arsenic, cadmium, and nickel, which are heavy metals that can harm or kill people over time. Well, the government was buying out the town, but this accelerated in the incident. I think, what was it, roughly about 2002? An F4, or an EF4, went right through the town, sealing its fate. The government rushed to buy every last bit of land, and Pitcher was taken off the registry in September of that year. The 2008. If it's 2008, then that'd be an EF scale. And guess what the U.S. government did? After they stole American natives' land and extracted all the wealth from it, they gave it right back and said, now you get to clean up. Have fun. That's American politics for you. They steal shit, extract resources, and then they leave the waste to the people. The town even became unstable. Potholes would open up from the empty cavernous caves below. However, these caves offered a great valuable asset because workers soon started using skid steers and other machinery to shovel the chat into these abandoned mines, allowing this ground to be sealed away forever. But again, the amount of lead that Pitcher, Oklahoma produced is absolutely ludicrously insane. Let's see. How much lead? Let's see. They produced 20 let's see, was incredibly productive. Produced more than $20 billion in ore. $20 billion between 1917 and 1947. In World War I, 50% of the lead and zinc used in World War I came from Pitcher. That's insane. That's half from one little tiny town in the middle of nowhere America. And that little baby town in nowhere America, essentially, produced half the lead used in the First World War. That's insane. A conflict that lasted so many years like that, and that much lead came from it. Like, that is a ludicrously huge amount of lead. So if you were on the what do you call it? Ass side of World War I. If you were an enemy of America or the Allies, you had essentially, there's probably at least a 1.5 chance that every time you got shot, you're being shot by lead made from extracted lead and Pitcher. Let's see, it left behind 178 million piles of chat and waste. Because how the refinery works is that, of course, in real life, you have this thing called ore, which is raw. Like, for example, when they have copper, or just any ore, there is a concentration of the material you want, and the rest is junk. For example, if I found, like, iron ore, it may be, like, 8% iron, and the rest is just junk I don't want. So you have to chemically separate that, and what you get after you separate it is you get almost pure resource, the pure resource that you want. But the con is that you get waste material. Again, cadmium, nickel, And of course, some trace amount. Actually, no, I wouldn't say trace amounts. There's probably a good amount of lead. Lead harms the body by blocking. I think it were chat piles. More like chat piles. Yeah. Lead harms the body by interrupting the reproductive system, and I think even preventing oxygen from getting into the cell. Because in literally every living organism is what's called cellular respiration, which takes ATP and turns it into usable energy, but produces carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Everything needs oxygen to run. It's cellular respiration. Every living organism needs cellular respiration, which again needs oxygen. And guess what? Lead just denies that oxygen. Let's see, inhibiting blood synthesis and causing inflammation of tissues. But if you are a kid or an elderly person, you're going to suffer greatly from the effects of lead. The worst time you can get affected by a chemical is when you're a kid, because you're still developing. Your immune system isn't quite there yet. I mean, another American, I would say pitcher, Oklahoma, shares a very similar fate with another town known as Centralia, Pennsylvania. It was an infamous coal production town, but they had a waste problem. They chucked a lot. Like, simple, imagine this. You're in a town, and you're mining for resources, and you got a lot of garbage. Now, Centralia is in the middle of butt-F nowhere. Literally nowhere. So, you also have a bunch of these pits. Well, why not just throw your garbage in the pit and light it on fire? Well, what these dumbasses didn't realize, hey, what if we don't light, garbage on top of mines that used to essentially contain coal? Well, one of these pits led to a mine shaft, and, well, it started a fire. That started 60 years ago. That is still burning to this day. The Centralia fire, I'm pretty sure, is estimated to burn for an extra 300 years. Due to the amount of coal. It is impossible. It would take billions of dollars. Trillions even, I've heard, to even try to stop it. I mean, here's the thing. You want to stop the fire, first you have to get underground. And there's probably a good amount of areas underground that we don't know about that fire is. Where is it burning? Well, coal, again, is very, it is very combustible. And it's burning underground. Because if you don't know, there's, like, reserves. There's, like, ore veins of coal. But it leaked, or it found its way through a mine shaft, an abandoned coal mine, and it essentially just started to spread and go from there. Again, it got so bad that a boy was playing in his yard and he fell down a sinkhole, but luckily he got out alive. I think as of today, Centralia only has a handful of residents. Man, there's another town of American, or not really a town, well, it is kind of a town, but a lake called Lake Peigneur. It is situated in Louisiana. Now here's how American geography works. In the Gulf, we have these things called salt domes. They're deep underground. They look like pimples or warts. Now these bulbs have they have salt like this, but on the very edges at the rim is an infamous spot for oil to form. And the Gulf, the coastlines of the Gulf are filled with these salt domes. So tons of oil. Well, Lake Peigneur had a salt dome under it. So this company called Texaco, they struck a deal to start mining and drilling for oil. Now, it requires trigonometry. You have to place your calculations on the point. It requires a lot of math. Well, before I get into the disaster, let me reference you to the fact that there is a salt mine underneath of Lake Peigneur that housed roughly, what, like 56 workers? Well, guess what? What does salt do in water? It dissolves. Right? So you already know where this is going. And, by the way, on Lake Peigneur, there is a drilling derrick, which is a little floating barge-like thing, shaped like a square, and it drills oil. You already know where this is going. Well, some dumbass didn't do the trigonometry correct, and he drilled a hole right into the salt mine, where all 56 workers were stationed. But there is a good caveat. You'd be like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a lot of deaths. Not really, because all 56 or so workers in that mine successfully evacuated and got out alive. I used to do an OSHA thing where I used to, I used to take OSHA classes. In fact, check this out. I have this card in my name. Give me a second. This, which is dirty, this is an OSHA 10-hour certification card. It's not like way too high ranking of a card. It just says that I'm competent in basic general safety, right? But I was taking my class and I noted that incident on why safety procedures matter. Because luckily, everybody in that mine stayed calm and collected, and everybody got out alive. But when they got up, they saw hell break loose. Well, because salt likes to dissolve in water, I think it was like a 1 foot hole started to widen, and it created a whirlpool in the center of the lake. Several barges were swallowed. Some of them would never even see the light of day again. The oil derrick, the workers rushed to get off the oil derrick and luckily escaped. Right before the oil derrick was swallowed into the sinkhole, never seen again. Never, ever seen again. Like, this bitch is gone. It's gone. Even an entire island was sucked down into this mine. The lake itself was freshwater, and it would flow out to the Gulf. Well, the water that would flow out to the Gulf reversed and went back in, filling the lake, and temporarily creating Louisiana's largest waterfall. Yeah, I think the lake went from being a couple feet, about 30 feet deep to 100, and I think became one of the deepest lakes in Louisiana. These guys literally destroyed a lake. I forgot how you... I think it's Peigneur. Peignor. No, that's not it. No, Peigneur. That's the lake. Yeah, these dumbasses literally collapsed an entire lake and basically ruined the entire ecosystem. The ecosystem of Lake Pinior went from being a freshwater environment to a brackish saltwater environment. If you actually look at it, Texaco has an infamous history with destroying shit and not paying the price. I'd say Texaco and Chevron are some of America's most infamous oil companies. I mean, they literally went to places like, I think it was like Ecuador? I think it's... Yeah, Ecuador. Interesting. Here, give me a second. Like, Texaco literally went to Ecuador, and they had a system to draw oil. You dig a pit, and you line it with tarp, and then you sit the oil in the pit that's lined in tarp so the oil can't seep through. And then after you use the tarp, or after that oil pit's done, you basically drain the oil, get rid of the tarp, and then you, haul ass and get out of town. Well, guess what? Chevron and Texaco did this, but they didn't use the tarp. And because of this, I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Texaco poisoned the western part of the Amazon rainforest. And the tribal areas were about to get justice in court, but they suggested they tried shady shit. They even tried to move the court's location because they knew they were in the wrong. Unfortunately, Texaco literally has never paid the bill, which I think Texaco is now dissolved into the company known as Chevron. Anyway, how did you change Google Maps? Makes me in front went to a beach. Oh, damn it! Give me a second. I need to go on that stream. I can never view my live chat. I'm so sorry. It feels like we're getting a lot of things done now. What were you saying? Yeah, I bet before I go to work today, I can get these machines all put in and installed. Like, I can get this floor done. I already got almost all the piping system done. And so we dug a tunnel from a lake to the beach, and the water went so fast it consumed most of the beach. Nuts. We've kind of done that once. We've kind of changed Google Earth. We used to have a bunch of forest on our property, but we've actually cut it back to build a giant reserve. And I look at the before and after, and it's clear as day. Like one frame, a lot of trees. Next one, everything's gone. We still have a lot of forested area though. I think we're doing very good. Like 20, to be exact. We live in a river valley. Well, we got it back in the day. We got it decades ago when land was cheaper. Now, yeah, that's a different story. No. You gotta realize back then, what this used to be bean field. So we used to actually, the land we're on used to be farmed, which is relatively cheap. There's no development. I will say the great thing about it is that we don't pay a water bill. All the water that we gather comes from good old Mother Nature, and we have at least 3 million gallons reserved. We have multiple reserves. In fact, my estimations told me that we could store again at least 3 to 4 million gallons of water on a full reserve. And if we were cut off from water, our consumption would lead us to last a staggering 11 years. Until next refill. This is a big factory, if I have to be honest with you. But when it's overclocked, it could refine as much as a quarter of the in-game iron supply. Dude, even just this by itself is more grand than my other factory. Like, look at the other one. You know, that one's like still a lot larger. This is the first refinery, first building I have, essentially like on the site slash premises to even use refineries. This is a big building, and its power consumption will be large, but this will help stretch our resources further and better than we've ever done before. Yeah, I bet you if we lock in, we can get this done before we go to work. Here's the thing, if I come home and I actually work on this, then, even better, we can, probably get another floor done, but I'm not gonna make promises. Cause like, I was gonna come home from work and get our floor done, and I didn't. Again, I did estimation. If this building is fully overclocked, it will process a staggering like 25,600 pieces of iron ore a minute. Now it's time to install the buffer tanks. By the way, I'm just going to give you a huge tip. Trust me, you're going to want to pull your hair out if you didn't do this trick. I mean, you finished the game, but you may have figured it out. Put buffers at the beginning and end of fluid systems. They work a lot nicer. Because here's the thing. I tested this with and without buffers, and the system with buffers lasted a lot longer without failure. In fact, the ones I used, like, with buffers, the failure rate is almost completely clean. That there. Put that there. This end's connected. There we go, now that end's connected as well. See how many refineries there are in this place. Boom, that section is connected. You're already now we're in. Hey, thanks, Australian friends here. Thanks for commenting on my video. I actually really like, I like Twisted a bit better though. I will say I just got the Tiv 1 in Twisted. It's so fun to use. I like how in the video you can see someone's car just get yeeted. I need to put those base plates on the, those poles. Man, I'll say I think I intercepted it 3 times. The first one and third one were not like as good, but the second one in the middle was nice. Yeah, remember about like at the 5 minute and 50 second mark of my new like tornado intercepting video on Twisted is so fun. And that's the good part. Now we're starting to get there. I think we should now build these walls next. Hello, viewer. Fun fact, did you note that weird, that sound that you always hear in a tornado warning? That's not junk. That's actual... There is a reason for that. That is what's called same code. Now, every time you hear a tornado warning, and that screech occurs, that's actually an encrypted code, and it contains the data for the warning type, the warning location, warning parameters, warning time frame, and other crucial information. And it's what's known as a data burst. And then followed is a dual tone signal, which I think is 853 hertz and 960. So it's actually two tones, two pitches, or frequency of noises played together to create that ominous and freaky dual tone sound. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. In my opinion, I'm doing very good here. I don't think I need to do that, like, one weird curve thing at the bottom, because after they go up to this floor, they're aligned. Okay. Yeah, see, they're now aligned. We're gonna have to place the pumps as we need. I'll work with putting inline pumps later. But not regarding the inline pumps. Let's say plumbing. Plumbing on this side is good. We just need to put the plumbing on the other side. Huh, I forgot, we don't actually need that many pipes. An hour and 20 minutes in. And we're doing, I think in my opinion, we're doing a good amount of work, but let's keep going. And we have about 2 hours to go. Until I get off and go to work. I'd say, yeah, pumps and lines should be placed roughly around here on this level. I love how the pipes look when they curl up and go into the top. It looks glitchy, but then it takes a while to load in the appearance, and then there it goes. That's better. There we go. That, I'd say the plumbing for this layer is pretty much as good as done. We don't have to do that weird curve right here because there's actually a beam that, if you guys want to see, which I don't think you guys do, but I don't care. If you actually don't know, we have this like beam, and we have to kind of go around, but it's okay. It's shortened there, and now we don't have to do that for the rest of the thing. So again, you guys automatically see what's going on here. Every time it's going to go up, it's going to reduce by 2. So when it goes up, by the time it hits the top of the ceiling up here, there's only 2 pipes left. This is the second last layer that we'll even need to be able to do this. Because when the next layer above us, the layer 3 goes on, we'll have to do 2 of these, and after that, it's it. I actually realized that I could probably put the pipes right here, but I'd rather have it go over here because this level is right above all the fluid buffers. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7. So on the 8th one. So for 5 in, we should put that in the bottom. I think honestly, again, I know I keep saying this, but I think we're working way faster today than we were in the past couple of days. Again, even if I couldn't get the second floor done today, I think, like before I go to work, I think we should get it done before I go head off for the night. Okay, keep doing that. Keep doing that. And should have one more wall after this. And after we go over here, yeah, that checks out. We still gotta get the belts. Okay, now next we need to do the power connection bus, and actually one thing we can do is one thing I'm actually gonna do next. That's really simple. Is we're gonna build these. Hello, viewer. That's a temporary line that is going. That's a line. That line that's going through those stairs are temporary. Okay. One. Hey. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, now we need to build what I like to call the power bus bar. Oh my god! I cannot wait for 1.2 to come out, and I don't have to build those stupid ass bars or buses to connect all my power lines. Because if you guys don't know, of course, if you guys don't play Satisfactory, you can only put one line connecting to one factory machine, which is nice because you'd be like, okay, yay, I can connect this refinery. Yeah, these are connected, but I can't connect this to, like, this machine. See, look, no empty power connectors. But as 1.2 what comes out, that's no longer going to be an issue. Gosh, why did my headset just disconnect my iPad every once in a while? Apologies, guys, give me one quick second. New settings. And... okay, so now we see build the power bus bars. Okay, so where relatively do I put these? So let's off the ground. $18 meters. Look at this. Again, if you've seen any of the previous episodes, you're gonna know that this is gonna be the bar of which I install all the power outlets. I might do a renovation to this place one day. Yeah, that's the first power bus done. I just need to make the external connection. I think we're too low on those. Maybe there's something wrong. I think these are too low. See, those are 7 tiles down from the top. Yeah. Maybe it's something on... I think I might start... I'm starting to realize what it is. It's because these are... that window... I think the walls are too tall. See, it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I see where we definitely went wrong here. We have to redo the plumbing on, like, a little bit of the plumbing, but it's okay. We got it. Then we caught that before it got too late. Ooh, I just realized that could have been... I could have broke the system right here by... Sorry if I just let out that audible groan. I'm watching a video called The Bad Driver Epidemic. I just watched a guy pull forward in front of a red light. I think, honestly, there is only one way I go past the red. There's only one red light area I purposely go past. There's this part in Bloomington by State Farm, and it has nobody going. So, if I want to go and it's red, I go, oh, there, okay, check that, and I go, check that again. I literally triple check. Because when I say this stoplight is bare, like, I'm literally only one there for like 5 minutes. And anything else? No, thank you. And if it's yellow, then I try to get through and out of the way as fast as I can. And as safely as I can. Because I don't want to, like, break up when I see yellow light, because I don't want to, like, sit myself in the middle of the road. I don't want to brake check people, but I also want to get out of the way and not block and obstruct people. But dude, honestly, to be honest with you, I've had one major incident in my driving report. And that's literally, my driving record spans probably about 4 years. Actually, let me see, when did I get this license? Good grief, I have to go get it refreshed in a couple months. My first license. Literally, wow, I'm not even kidding you, in about 5 days, it will be my 4th year driving with a license. By the way, I'd say right now I'm about 4.5 years, almost half a decade of driving experience. That's insane. I have half a decade of driving experience. It feels like I haven't barely got any. I mean, I have driven about, I would say, 38,000 miles on my one car and 5,000 on another. But of the 40,000 miles I've driven, there's only one major incident, and that's in October when a deer was running out my car. And when I'm saying run out, I was going this way, the deer was going this way. I've driven across 4 states, Illinois, I think 4 states, Illinois, literally just a little bit of Wisconsin, Indiana, and Iowa. But I had a deer hit me, and the deer was going like this, so I could barely see it. Like, I rewound the dash cam footage, and I could barely see it. But, here's the thing, after I hit that deer, I don't go more than 30 miles an hour in dark areas. Like where trees are. Here's a tip, guys. If there's trees, and you're in a river valley, you're going to get deer. And my science says they're like really smart, but these are the dumbest goddamn animals on the face of the earth. Hey, is that a 2-ton metal vehicle going 45 miles an hour enough to kill a human being? Like, you're a deer. You're right here. There's a car going this way. You could go over here, up there. You decide to go here and hit the literal 2-ton chunk of steel going 40 miles an hour. Like cars and deer have coexisted for decades. You wouldn't think these dumbasses would not know, hey, maybe jumping in front of a several-ton vehicle at twice the speed that's required to kill a human is not a good idea? I literally watched a deer, like, generally sprint into my pond and drown itself. I physically watched the bastard drown himself. I don't know what he did. He just ran in the pond. I think what happened actually was we have like this like deep part of our pond on the edge. It's not like insanely deep, but it's a bit deeper than the other parts, and that's where the well is, and the water gets sucked in through the gravel. And the deer fell in that pit and drowned. Oh shit. But here's the thing, unlike I feel like a lot of people like that drive and don't learn, I at least learn from every engagement. But other than that deer, or me running, or that, I should say that deer running into me, because the deer ran into me, 100%, piece of shit. But dude, other than that, I'm pretty good. I deal with roundabouts. I know. I remember once I went on the Instagram and somebody was like commenting how like the European agenda has infiltrated America and is making people forced to drive through. Like the European agenda is forcing you know, America to build roundabouts. I'm not kidding you. Somebody said that there is an agenda to install roundabouts. Like, dude, get off the internet. Roundabouts are... Americans can't take roundabouts, but I can. They're a lot nicer and safer. They look better. They slow traffic down a little bit, but hey, safer. Like, do we realize that, I think in Illinois, a quarter of all teenage drivers' deaths occur at intersections? The only problem I see with roundabouts is that they cannot, they restrict semis, which can be a double-edged sword. So, like, you can install them in suburban areas that experience unwanted semis going through them. But yeah. I remember once I went to Peoria, Illinois, and I came home with my mom, and we almost got ran off the road because these dumbass idiots were racing down the interstate at night. Like, oh yeah, I could go in a car, I can go 150 miles on the interstate. You're going in a straight line, you jackass. You're going on a straight line on a road engineered for high speed. You're not special. You're not talented. You're an idiot that has to endanger everybody on the road just for your ego. But by the way, my biggest hatred in driving are bitch-ass lane weavers. And if you don't know what I mean the people that get up on your ass and do this. Like, there's a car right here, and they just weave right through. I despise people that drive like that. I'm literally getting I can feel my head warming up just from talking about them. I have a massive, just seething hatred of people that drive like that. You know what I hate more than that? Is tailgaters. My God. Can a man not hop on my freaking ass? Listen, bucko, I'm going 5 above the speed limit, and the left lane's open. You can pass me. And you know what? You guys can call me petty for doing this. But if I ever have a dumbass tailgating me, I slow down to the speed limit. Because if you're gonna frickin' tail my ass and be a little impatient douchebag while I'm going 5 over, then you don't need to get the privilege of going as fast as I am. And then they usually pass around, and then there you go, problem solved. But another cancer I have seen is driving and streaming. Now, I've thought about doing it, but if I have to do it, I would put my phone to the absolute other side of the car where I literally can't even touch it. And I'd only read chat after I get to intersections, but I'd only do it near, like, storm chases. But even though, I don't know if I could even do it, even if I wanted to, because it is a massive distraction and a safety hazard. And if you guys don't know, I take safety very seriously. It doesn't sound like it, but, I mean, I'm a huge safety nerd. I try to be safe. And by the way, another reason why I do not stream and drive is because somebody could literally find me and rob me. Like, if someone wants to geolocate, they can literally rob me by tracking me down. Because there's some people that can and will do that. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. But I saw a driving streamer who turned right, and then he turned. There was a 2-lane road with a parking lane on each side. He turned into the parking lane and hit a still vehicle. Can you imagine owning a nice vehicle? You take care of it, your driving record's perfect, and some dumbass who's streaming, doesn't even pay attention, turns and hits your parked vehicle! On an empty road, by the way. There was really nobody. He was the only driving road in his frame, and he still hit a car. That is just like I'm sorry, dude, you're ass. Like give me your license. I'm gonna put your license in sulfuric acid. You don't need it anymore. No, thank you. And by the way, no offense to any storm chasers, because I'm starting to become one. But storm chasers may drive bad, but they don't drive as bad as people who try to be impressive in their stock car. That's ironic, because I have a stock car and I try to act impressive. Look at me talk. Fine, now we need to go to the bottom. We need to go from bottom up. That would be way faster. Man, I think the worst driver I've ever encountered on the road. There's a spot in Bloomington, Illinois, and it is Interstate 55 and 74. 74 comes in like this, and then 55 comes in like this, and they combine together and they split. Well, here's the thing. When it splits, there's a dirt part right when it starts splitting. This dumbass Dodge Charger goes from the left. I'm going here, right? This guy splits and goes and cuts in front of me across dirt. Like, literally, the interstate already split, and this dumbass Dodge Charger sped up and cut me off. You dipshit, go down to, like, the next exit and turn around. Don't be an impatient prick. Dude, that pissed me off. I need to plug my iPad. But you know what's an incident or the stupid behavior of drivers that really eggs me? That I've been noticing for the past couple months is when semi-drivers, when you're getting on the interstate and semi-drivers are on the right lane and you have to slow down to get behind them and they could have turned left, and literally 9 times out of 10 when I go on the interstate, there's nobody to their left. There's nobody to their left and they didn't move. It's like, dude, speed up. I mean, like, there's nobody on their left or front or right. Like, slow down, speed up, or move over. You have 3 options. Like, let me in. That pisses me off. Like, you have so much space to move out of the way. Like, literally. And my car, I mean, I know they don't know me in my car. My car is pretty decently fast. Like, if they move over and I get in, I'll speed up and get out of their way. And we'll never see each other again. But no, you have to freaking sit in the right lane and block me from, and make me slow down when I get on the interstate. Like, dude, I have places to go. And time limits I have to get in front of. And if you say, oh, leave early, yes, I do leave early, and I'm pretty good at time managing. I mean, almost an hour 30. almost done. There we go. Pretty sure this is functionally done. Now we gotta do some minor decorations and cover it up. And actually, there's a much better way to do this. Okay, now for the supports of the... Damn, it usually took about an hour to put one of these cells, or these rooms in. Now it took me 2.5 hours, but I put them all in. But I could have gone faster. We're almost done. I think with the extra time I have before I have to go to work, I think I'm gonna put the lights in. Fine. That's good. Let's cover it up. That's like the... And now, just like the many U.S. war crimes we've committed, let's cover it up and no one will ever see this. There you go. We got half all the refinery units done. It's 4:03. We have like less than 40 minutes to get to work. Before we have to leave for work. Uh, by the way, I'm back. I'm back on the whole like video I'm watching about like the whole landman wind turbine thing. They're like, man, if they think, by the way, the show is set in Texas. Oh, if they think that them things are the future, they'd be building them all over the damn place. Girl, Texas has 1/4 of the United States' wind turbine population. If you had every American wind turbine on a list, and you picked one unit from that list, you have a 25% chance that that unit is going to be in Texas. That is Puerto Rico. And all 5 other, that's the 5 territory states, Washington, D.C., and the 50 states combined. And 1/4 of the turbines built in this country are housed in Texas. If they were, man, if they thought these things were the future, they'd be building them all over the damn place. Hey, Texas. What the hell is that? Can you ask? What the hell is this? Oh, but those are individual. Oh, those are. Oh, we zoom in here. Huh, look at that. It's like there's a shit ton of them. Oh my god, there's actually. Okay, I'm dropping the accurate. Oh my god, there's a lot of them. Oh, and here's the United States as a whole. Those are not wind turbines. Those are clumps of wind farms. Look how many of them there are. Oh, you're using a no. That's US Wind Turbine Database.gov. That is official data. We are building them. We have 70,000 of them. Idiot. And he's always like saying there, and he said, "Oh, the oil companies own them." Wind farms and wind turbines are usually owned by private companies like EDP and like GE and Siemens. Like for example, like take EDP. EDP is not essentially an oil company; it is an energy company, and they basically contract. Like, let's say EDP says, hey, Vestas, I'm going to order a couple of your units. I want you to build them here. And then Vestas does its thing. They build their turbines, and the rest is history. He says, oh, oil companies own them. Yes, oil companies own wind turbines, but are against them. Logic, 0. Bruh. Oh god. Oh yes. I finally got to a part of the video where we have, you know, your good old boy who is rotting in his place, like the garbage at the back of my dumpster at the restaurant I'm about to go to. Your big old boy Trump saying, "Oh man, you want to see a graveyard? Go to under a wind turbine." By the way, I have to admit this: I've been under wind turbines, and it may or may not be against, you know, regulations, but I also took a trip under wind turbines, right? And I literally, my hobby is to go around them. I don't think I've really seen a bird. I'm not gonna deny that there's like no birds that have been killed by them, but I barely see them. And there we go. So that let's see, that's great. So essentially, in one stream, we got the entire second floor done. So when we come back, if I do come back tonight, I'm gonna hopefully try and get a good, at least either a good chunk or all of the third floor done. We have three. We have two more floors to do. So in terms of refineries, we are halfway done. In terms of overall progress, I think I'd estimate we're about 60% done. But that's just with this segment. I actually may build another segment over here. But one day this is all going to be enclosed. Hey guys, peace out.